Alright, so this is part 2 of The Last Immortal. There came a time in 1533 I decided to take a voyage across the sea. Learning of new lands had me filled with glee. I hopped aboard a ship of 64. Little did they know they should have brought more. For when I got to land, there were only 23. I'd gotten my strength on the voyage by eating at the sick or the wounded. No one noticing me, black knight and hooded. 2 months our journeys took us, and I was in a place my eyes had never seen before. How excited I was to be able to explore. The mission in my head was almost dead. I ventured through the wilderness, seeing the world all new like a kid again. Over 500 years on this earth, and I was feeling joy again. It was such an erotic feeling, I prayed it would never end. I never thought of the dangers of this new world. I tried and tried again to end it all in the old, but I never dreamed a weakness would unfold. In 1536, I stumbled through the woods. I'd come across a hidden village of natives. They knew what I was before I ever walked in. On their faces, I could practically see my sins. In their fear, I could smell the horror of what I am. But the shaman showed me no fear. While the rest of the village ran in ahead, the shaman slowly walked ahead, walking towards me and never missing a step. To this day, I'm not sure what he said, but as he said it, he raised his hand. As his hand raised, I was hit with pain that wouldn't allow me to stand. It was the first time I'd felt fear in 500 years. It honestly brought me joyous tears. And the shaman saw this and released me there. He waved his hand at me as if to say for me to disappear. But I couldn't go now that I was here. Down on my knees, I begged the only way I knew how. He must have understood because he invited me in. I felt that I had much to learn here. He reminded me of the witches of the old world. Not sure of how it would unfold. I kept my distance for reasons known. Speaking of the old world, though, their magic didn't seem as strong. This man with few words could have strung me along. It made me very curious to stay and learn. So in his clay-made home, I went with him. And while we sat there, I could see in his eyes the fire burn. His language a mystery to me. It was impossible for us to speak, but it was interesting, I'm sure, while he watched me play charades. I spent many months with him, learning from their ways. Hunting for them became a price to stay. But at night I worried. The sounds of settlers coming was getting closer, and part of me knew this magic would be lost. Eventually I let my worry betray me. I'd leave at night and slay those who would destroy them. But eventually the shaman would catch me. Angry with me, it was plain to see. He was ready to cast me out when suddenly they came. Another tribe, as we call them, was there to eliminate them. I witnessed something spectacular that night. I had thought all along that the shaman had all the power. But each and every member of the tribe defended their home with magical power. As much to my surprise, even the invaders were special. They were faster than typical humans, even stronger, and had healing abilities similar to my own. Neither of which were powerful enough to kill me, but it was still a sight to see. The world was overridden with gunpowder now. As I watched the chaos unfold, one of the other natives attacked me from below. He somehow found me in a tree where I was overseeing. Surprised by the moment, I began to toy with him, pushing him away like shooing away a fly. My patience gone, he had to die. As I bit into his flesh, feeling the life leave his body, the blood in his veins made me drunk. It was an exhilarating experience I'd never had before, but to my dismay, the life I felt leaving him had began returning. I let go of my hold and watched him flee in fear, and as he ran away, I heard him yelling for retreat. But I was curious beyond the imagination, and quickly I would retreat. I followed them into the woods, silently moving so as to not be seen. The mysteries of their blood I wished to interpret immediately. Going over it in my head as I creeped, not able to understand how he regained his strength. I'd almost sucked him dry after piercing his throat with my teeth. After 3 long days of hiking, we were finally at their village, on a mountainside right out in the open. I waited for them to sleep before I entered this place. Exploring a bit while they slumbered, I was in awe at what things I would see. Art and other wonders that were exquisite even to me. In a room all by itself, I found my favorite piece. It was a mask made of wood and covered in precious stones. It was quite ugly, but would most likely strike fear because of the unknown. Not paying attention, the sun was almost up and the village was stirring. I was stuck in blind illusion while admiring their paintings. From behind me somehow come a sneaking native. Surprised I was by a spear thrusting through my back and out through my chest cavity. Around I turned and pulled the spear clean through. Through his leg I used to pin him to the ground, his screams bringing the whole village to. Suddenly I noticed a shine to these people's eyes, something I believed was almost animal-like. And they were also very angry with me. I pulled the spear from the ground,